Therapists spend all day helping people connect, but many therapists are quietly feeling alone. I know that I have felt this way in the past. You can be in session after session, connecting with your clients, but not connecting with other therapists and not having mutual mind. And isolation in therapy doesn't just affect our mood, it actually affects our clinical capacity as therapists. And so sometimes we'll assume that we're getting burnt out, but actually it really has to do more with relational connection. So today we are talking about what we believe is a hidden epidemic in the therapy world, and that is therapist isolation. If you're new here, I'm Alyssa with CFT Institute. We train therapists, counselors, and spiritual leaders in a framework approach that combines neuroscience with faith. So let's dive in. Monica, I'm curious why you feel like therapist isolation is an important topic for us to unpack today.
Thank you, Alyssa. Well, I don't know about you, but I like to watch Instagram reels sometimes, and they're like, pinpointing these very specific reels to me. And there are these ones where therapists are like, this is me when I'm at work, and this is me when I'm done seeing clients all day. And they're like laid out, like passed out on the couch or on a staircase or something. Like, it's funny, right? Because we can identify as therapists, like how draining it can be to talk to many people in one day and then come out of that and feel completely wiped out. I mean, I work long days Monday through Thursday, and I know you do that too. At the beginning of the week, you're working some really long days, and then you get done with the end of that stint of a long day and you're like seeing double, like you don't want to talk to anybody. You're like vegging out or whatever. I mean, it's really our bodies are depleted and we need that replenishment, that reset of the couple of days. So I think that this topic is near and dear because it's a thing that we as therapists deal with. I worked at a practice for years where it was like, hey, you go in, you shut the door, and you don't really connect.
Yes, I have had the same situation. Yep.
Yeah, you know your friend is right next door and dealing with a lot of the same things, but you don't have time to share with them or connect with them.
Right. Absolutely. Well, because in the therapy world, oftentimes we have sessions pretty much back to back. In between that, I got to get water. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to get notes done. I need to prep for the next client, right? I mean, we're just going all day long. And so we're often not maybe even prioritizing how do we connect with other therapists who are in the same line of work, who understand what this work is like, or even just to have that point of connection with a friend, right? To build that joy back up and build up our capacity.
Yes. When you said that, I'm thinking about these moments where my office door is open, but I'm busy. Like I'm working on, I'm on a left brain. I'm task oriented. I'm trying to get those notes done. I'm trying to get that last minute, form filled out or whatever. So I can get home. And then one of my colleagues drops in, and part of me is like, I want to connect. Another part of me is like, I'm tired. I want to go home. And so, but I think what you're saying, and I think what the topic of this conversation is the therapist loneliness. What do we need to do to fill our tanks relationally so we're not giving out of an empty vessel, an empty cup? And are we able to, really invest in or realize the importance of these relational interactions so that we can be relationally filled up?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And obviously, relational connection, I would say outside of the therapy room, just with the people that are in our lives, building joy in those moments and also building peace. But I do think, this is my opinion, I'm curious yours, there is a difference about connecting with other therapists who know the work, who understand the emotional toll it takes. There's just a different level of understanding that comes from that mutual mind that comes from that I also think is important as we talk about this. Would you agree with that?
Totally. In fact, clients will sometimes, talk about, their loneliness or whatever, and just, they'll ask questions like, do you know what it's like? Or do you have, are you able to find that same type of relationship that really satisfies your soul? And I said, I'm really fortunate because as a therapist, a lot of my friends are therapists and they just know how to connect.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one day years ago where something happened. A really, we all have these really tough client situations that come across our paths. I don't know what to do, whether it's I need to make a report or I've got somebody upset with me or whatever it is. And I had a situation, can't remember the details, but I said to my husband, I got to reach out to my team. And I reached out. Somebody was available. I think it was Kyle, who many who listen to this podcast know him, and he was able to call immediately, and I just felt so much better. He just reflected back. He
Yes.
mirrored, he validated. He didn't try to make it better. He didn't try to give me advice. He was just like with me.
Mm,
My nervous system settled. It wasn't the situation wasn't any different,
yeah.
but he
Well,
was there for me.
yeah, I agree. I think that there's, other therapists, they just know a lot of relational skills. Not that other people in our life don't, but they're coming at it from a different lens. I think the other thing I run into is just what you're talking about. Sometimes when it's just been I don't remember who said it, Monica, but there's somebody who says, as therapists, we loan out our nervous systems to our clients. Right? So I can feel so much joy in working with my clients, but all day I am loaning out my nervous system. And yeah, it's a lot. It can be heavy. And we can find ourselves sometimes feeling, whether it's burnt out or overthinking clinical cases or just feeling, I don't want to connect. And I often feel like some of the people in my life who are not therapists, I'm like, well, I don't want to burden you with this either by talking through a case with you. I, and then there's ethics where like I can't talk about certain things. And so, how do I also, after a long week of hard sessions, process that, right? And be able to regulate my own nervous system. And I think that therapists in our lives are able to help with that, right? To hold some of that weight, help us to regulate that nervous system and, increase our joy capacity.
True.
Yeah.
So true. While you're talking, it really makes me think about even the life model informed therapists that I've gotten to know, like yourself, for instance, and, the host of other colleagues I now call friends. It takes it to the next level because not only do we understand the psychological concepts from grad school and our work with clients, but we also understand this really life-giving curriculum that helps us understand how to grow our joy capacity, how to be relational in conflict, how to stay in relational mode, not enemy mode. There's all these things. I joke that it feels like I'm talking to myself sometimes when I talk to friends like yourself, because we know and have been practicing some similar skills. So it's really scratching an itch.
Yeah.
When you think about, go ahead, were you going to say something?
No, I just agree with you. Absolutely.
So when you think about Dr. Wilder saying, when you're in relationship with people who have maturity gaps, it really impacts your feeling satisfied or satiated in relationship, right? People, when there's maturity issues, you end up feeling disappointed in the relational interaction. And I don't feel that a lot of times with my therapist friends or friends that I have cultivated long-term relational belonging with. It's like we're teaching each other how to be there for one another, or in the groups I'm leading, same,
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it goes back, like what you're saying, Monica, is some of that really goes back to being on the same page with people. Whereas in the therapy room, we are trying as therapists to stay as the bigger mind in the room, right? I'm going to stay regulated in the midst of your dysregulation. I'm going to
Yes.
stay grounded. And so then when we get around people that we're on equal footing, right? I can be dysregulated and you can help me and vice versa, right? We can reciprocate this. It really helps one to increase our joy capacity, which ultimately, like, going back to why this conversation is important is when we don't do this, when we're living in isolation and our joy starts dropping and we
Yes.
are starting to see like we are being less effective, we're exhausted faster, we're using, like pseudo joys to decompress at the end of the day, or we want to be disconnected more, right?
Right.
And I think that it does lead to increased risk for burnout, because obviously we need high joy capacity to be with clients all week. And so when
Yeah.
we're not replenishing that consistently, we're going to continue to get depleted, depleted, depleted. And now we're going to start seeing that play out with our clients, which I don't think any of us as therapists want, right? We went into this work to help. We want to have high capacity to be able to help.
Exactly. Totally agreed. I remember Ed Curry's wife, Maritza, saying to me when I first met her, that she would get to the end of a long work day. She does more spiritual direction, coaching type
Mhm.
work. And she said, I just want to go use a comfort, like a TV or a food or something like this. And she said, what I do is I just quiet my body and just regulate my nervous system and, connect to God, connect to safe other. And that ends up filling me up. And so we can get into a really dangerous rhythm. And
Mhm.
I've been there, working till late at night, coming home, eating in front of the television, staying up too late watching a series or a show, and then can't get up out of the bed the next day, can't get in my rhythm with my quiet time, can't get in my rhythm with my exercise, go to work feeling depleted and can't wait to get home and eat and watch TV again.
Right.
Like
Right.
this type of rhythm, from a life model lens, it's never going to really fill you up. It's just,
Yeah.
it's neuroscience, it's fact, we need joy, we need relational connection, we need spiritual connection with God, we need to be able to reach mutual mind with people, we need to share appreciation,
Yeah.
we need to watch our relational circuits. you know doesn't mean I'm always wanting to connect, but maybe I'm so tired my attachment light is off, but doing a nice slow walk or a bath sauna, something like this at night is so much more replenishing with gentle music, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Spiritually connect, to relationally connect. Those are the things we really, really need.
Yeah. I'm curious for you. I have a couple that are coming to mind, but what are maybe your top two or three things to prevent isolation that you do?
Goodness. Well, you know mine because I do them. I love that Marco Polo app, which I'm not advertising right now, but I guess I kind of am. I love that app. It has helped me for years to stay connected to
Yeah.
good friends, no matter where they are in the world. Like if you and I try to get on a phone call, it's like an act of God. You know? It's really hard. Sometimes we miss each other for weeks, but we're able to get on Marco Polo and get back and forth so quickly because you can catch it even though you're 2 hours ahead of or behind me,
Right.
and you can catch it later. Of course, you're going to work out at 5 in the morning. So sometimes you get it early. But yeah, I love that app. And I just have my peeps that I connect to. I have people all over the country as well as people right here in town, and sometimes it's one-on-one relationships and other times it's like 3+ relationships that life model talks about. I'm just super intentional. I have those types, and then I have regular calls with, like, I have a call tomorrow morning with two of my good neighbor friends that we've been cultivating relationship for years. I've got a call on Thursday morning with my sister-in-laws, probably twice a month,
Hmm.
as well as a walk and talk and pray with two
Mhm.
of my bestest friends every single Tuesday morning. Been doing that for 5+ years.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, I check in with my husband. We do our check-ins. Just it's really those relational connections. I do my time with the Lord every day. I do thought rhyming or thought rhyming or interactive gratitude most days.
Mhm.
And so those are the things for me. How about you? What are you doing to fill yourself up?
Yeah, one of the ones that has been really life giving is I started a consultation group at the practice I work at.
Okay.
So, do a lot of reflecting identity to each other and appreciation and gratitude, quieting together. And because we pass out these skills all day long to people. And then sometimes we forget to put them into practice ourselves, right? And so it's so good to just practice those things together, but also have a really safe place to talk through stuck points with clients, and get help, but have a group that's really safe that reflects identity back to you and telling you, who they see God has created you to be, which is very life giving. And then I would say the other one that has been, it's a newer group that I joined, but it's not even therapists. It's just people who like life model. And we're all getting together every 2 weeks and just practicing these skills together. And so we pick a topic. Hey, let's talk through like, hey, how are you doing dealing with shame? Let's talk about it. And just grow together. So it's fun because it's a really safe place to practice the skills, feel really relationally connected with people that really want to grow and learn and are on the same page with it all. So that's been amazing to have that. But I would say, like, for anybody out there, any therapist, the other thing that I do that I'm very intentional about is I try to think through my day. And so when I do have pockets of the day, even though it's really busy and it's cram packed, and when I do have time to open my door, I leave it open for the purpose of if somebody comes in to connect, I know I need it. And so I'm going to set aside what I'm doing because I know I have time carved out for that later. I'll get it done now if I can. But if somebody pops in and they're like, how was your weekend? I really try to prioritize that eye to eye connection, right? Come in, sit down. I would love to catch up with you and just connect, right? Because that's important. And it helps me get through my day with so much more joy and energy if I do that versus saying, I'm so sorry, I have a million notes to write. Can we talk later?
Right. That's a really good model for me as you say that, because I know sometimes I know that it's good, but I'll in my mind be going, "Oh man, I need to get this done," versus like put it aside, really connect and say, I'm going to make relationships more important than problems right now. This is what's most important. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's great, Alyssa. I love it that you're doing that. And what's bringing to mind too is these life model informed therapy groups that we're going to be forming. Like you're in the beta group right now, right?
That has
With
been amazing. And I cannot wait for these to launch because everybody in this group, Monica, has said, like, I look forward to these meetings. Like, they prioritize it over everything else because it is just so refreshing and life giving to be a part of. So, yes, I'm so excited about them.
yes, so just like spoiler alert, like
Yeah.
in fall 26, we're going to have life model informed therapy consultation groups. And so the consultants are being trained right now. And it's just been a really great experience for those involved. And so we're excited. Be watching your email, be watching the listserv and social media as we get that to come out. So yeah, so many good things that we can do as therapists. So many things are intentional. We may not feel like do it. We may feel like isolating. We may feel emotionally flat, like go into hypoarousal after sessions. That's one of the signs, right? That you're going into isolation. You're doing things that are pseudo joys. They aren't going to actually be replenishing for you,
Yeah.
even though you're fatigued. Sometimes I'm so tired, and I know you are too, just like
Mhm.
so tired. It's like I'm literally almost seeing double and I just need to go to bed.
Yes.
But it can be a really dangerous place to be because we can be overthinking, we can be less creative. avoiding connection with others because we're scared of how we're going to act or think or whatever.
Yeah.
Really dangerous.
It is. Yeah. And so I just want to encourage therapists out there doing really simple things. I love that you brought up quieting in this conversation too, because sometimes we do. Our relational circuits are off and we do need to just catch our breath, right? And do things that are going to bring our nervous system back online. And I think that there's lots of little ways that we can be intentional around building that relational joy. Because when we do that, we get recharged, we have more capacity, and then we're able to help spread healing through that. We therapists grow best through community, right? Together. And so I would just really encourage you, if you're listening to this and you are feeling this way, like maybe I am feeling isolated right now. Maybe some of these signs that I've been thinking are burnout, I'm recognizing maybe I'm just really isolated. There's so many different ways to get plugged in, to try to make those relational connections. And obviously here at Life Model, we want to get you plugged in and engaged as well. So we appreciate you tuning in today. If you want to go deeper with the Life Model and these 30 core concepts, we have a full series of trainings available at CFT Institute. You can start exploring it for free at cftinstitute.com. And remember, healing spreads when counselors live in joy. We'll see you next episode.